welcome everybody. We're here for another great session. And today we're talking recruiting solves all. And it is a hot topic as always. In fact, I mentioned it a little bit in this morning's message. And we're going to dive into the specific tactics that we're using to recruit right now at a high level. And before we jump in, I want to make sure while you're chatting with us today in the chat, change your settings to everyone. All right, because I'm going to ask you the first question. I want to know where you're joining us from today. So do me a favor, drop your city and state and change your chat to everyone. So that way we can see. It defaults to hosts and panelists. So you just check the little drop down and change that to everyone. Great to see Georgia in the house, Florida. All right, Scottsdale. Thanks for waking up with us this morning on the West Coast, Portland, Oregon. Love it. Ontario, we've got some Canadians in the house. Welcome, welcome. All right, well, we'll go ahead and jump in. Make sure you have the workbook. It would have been in your email confirmation. If not, I'm going to have them drop it in the chat. There it is. They'll drop it a few times because as everyone's mentioning where they're from, it moves pretty quickly. And while we're getting that workbook downloaded and printed for yourself, because I want you to, I get this question a lot. Jeff, you're so adamant about us printing off this workbook and taking notes. Why do you do that? Well, because I have found in my personal experience that I'm more likely to get something out of a session when I actually write notes and make notes to myself and circle things and star things. And so by the time we're done, because we have 7 sessions that we're doing in a matter of like 2.5 weeks, you're going to have 7 different workbooks to refer back to you so you can go back and take action on them. And these are all things that we're doing to win right now. Speaking of winning right now, for those that are not familiar, my name is Jeff Glover for our first timers, and I'm from Detroit, Michigan. I've been listing and selling real estate now for 22 years. Of those 22 years, I have been involved in leadership the last 20. And my leadership journey actually started at 20 years old with Kathy Schweitzer, who hired me to manage one of our offices. Today, we've got a team that sells just around 1,000 houses per year, as well as I'm involved in brokerages, which we have close to 700 agents here in the state of Michigan. And so today's session is a powerful one for our leaders, those of you leading teams, leading organizations, whether they're in your downline, whether they're in your brick and mortar, if you're operating brokerages. I know we've got a lot of great leaders on today, and it is our mission at Glover U to impact millions to live their most unreal life. And we're going to do that in 2 ways. We're going to do that by pouring into other leaders so that way you can go on and make a difference with your agents. And we're also going to do that by pouring into your salespeople because as you've seen now, if you've had a chance to come to any of our events, you'll see we are absolutely passionate about helping you bring out the best in your people, especially as it relates to helping them list and sell more homes. So speaking of that, for those that are not familiar, Glover U is a broker agnostic training and coaching organization. You come to our events, you'll meet agents from all companies, leaders and broker owners and team leads from all companies, whether it's Remax, Coldwell Banker, Century 21, Keller Williams, EXP, Real, LPT, pretty much every single independent is pretty much every single franchise. And of course, hundreds of independents are represented in our audience today. So we hope you get the chance to join us at one of those events. Now, before we jump into today's topic, and you're going to get the benefit of learning from the same person that I learned how to recruit from, Kathy Schweitzer, and I'll do her introduction in just a second. I want to make sure you're taking advantage. There's 3 resources that if I'm leading a team, I'm leading a brokerage, there's 3 resources that I want to make sure that you're utilizing at the highest level. Okay. The first one is the daily message. And every day I write a message specifically designed to help agents list and sell more homes. That is very much an agent focused message. Now, this morning I did a recruiting message, which is very rare that I will do a leadership type message because I really want to keep our focus on helping your agents list and sell more homes. I did the recruiting message today because I knew we had this webinar. But for the most part, every single day, I'm writing a message Monday through Friday to help your agents list and sell more homes. I'm told by a lot of the people that coach with us and that come to our events, a lot of the leaders like yourselves, you're actually taking those daily messages and you're turning them into training opportunities. I love that. I've got several teams across the country and brokerages across the country that we coach that they actually make it part of their daily message. They'll take something from mine and that'll inspire them, and they'll include that in their daily message with their company. So whether you use it daily, weekly, monthly, I don't care. Either way, you and your agents should have access to it. It's free, first of all, it's easy, and it's a daily message designed to help them list and sell more homes. So if you're not currently receiving it, take out your cell phones. I'll show you how to sign up for it. It's super simple. Go to your text messages, and just as if you were texting a new friend, the phone number is 55444, 55444, and in the body of the message, just type warning. You can see I did it there on our last webinar. If you just type morning, you're going to get a question back. It's just going to ask you your first name and your last name and your email. And just like that, you're signed up. It's totally free. I would share it with your agents to get them fired up every morning, and or just take it for yourself and use it for sales meeting content or your next coaching session with your agents. That's the first resource I want to make sure we share with you, and that is a free resource as well. The second resource that is being used by text the word morning, MORNING. That's right, morning to 55444. They'll throw it in the chat. Yep, morning to 5. There it is. Text the word morning to 55444. Take advantage of those daily messages. They're all designed. Sometimes I go on an appointment. For those that are not familiar, I'm still in production. I think this is why so many agents across the US and Canada are following us today, because I'm in the trenches with your people. Aside from leading a team and leading brokerages, I'm actually still in production. So, in fact, in the last decade, I have personally averaged over 100 transactions a year. So I know what they're going through. Anyways, I'll take things that when I go on a listing appointment, they ask me about the NAR settlement, let's just say, I'll give my response the next day. So that way all the agents can learn from it and use it while they're out on appointments as well. Anyways, that's resource number one. Resource number two, which is a plethora of resources in itself, is the Glover U app. And so there are many things that people are on our website paying for right now. For instance, we did a buyer webinar a few weeks back, and we gave away our buying power checklist for agents to use on their buyer consultations to build value. Of course, that's a big conversation we're doing right now with agents, and it's free in the app. So if you don't have the Glover U app, I recommend you take advantage of it. There's free resources in there. Most of it is for your agents, but there's also recruiting resources in there as well. There's leadership resources in there as well. So take advantage of those. Okay. That's resource number two. That's the Glover U app. You can find that in your app store. The third and final resource is an area that our marketing team is putting more energy and effort into than ever before. It's an area for you to get great content to use with your people, whether you're sharing things in your Facebook group or in your sales meetings. It's also a great resource for your agents to have as well, and that's subscribing to our YouTube channel. So if you open up your YouTube app on your phone, okay, everyone probably has the YouTube app. If not, just Google Glover U and click on video. It'll be the first one that pops up. If you open up your YouTube app and you search Glover space the letter U, that's GLOVER space the letter U, you'll be able to pull up the YouTube channel right through the YouTube app. There's going to be a little bell right in the middle there. You click on that bell, and that causes you to subscribe. It's free to subscribe. And now every time we share a video that's designed to either help you recruit or help you list and sell more homes, or help your agents list and sell more homes, you'll be notified. All right, so that's resource number three. So we got the daily message, you got the Glover U app, and you're subscribing to the Glover U YouTube. By the way, we probably give away more resources than we ever charge for, but those are the most popular ones. Those are the ones that we're being told people are getting the most value from. So take advantage of those. Again, I'm going to have them drop the workbook in the chat one more time. If you're joining us a little late, that'll have all the resources as well. So let's get that workbook dropped in the chat one more time. YouTube channel is Glover space the letter U. That's the Glover U YouTube channel. That will be in that workbook as well. You can get the all the information that I just covered in the workbook. So make sure you get that downloaded and printed. Okay, Kathy, we've got a hot topic, because when I look at the way our team is growing, when I look at the way a lot of our coaching clients, the growth that they're having, it's because we've changed up some of the ways that we recruit. Some of the old school methods are still working. Some of them are not working as well. There's a lot of new school methods as well. So today you guys have the pleasure of learning from the exact person that taught me how to recruit, the exact person that taught me how to lead brokerages and lead people, and that is Kathy Schweitzer. She was, of course, for those that are not familiar, she co-owned the Coldwell Banker Schweitzer franchise in Metro Detroit with her husband. It was 16 offices, I don't know, 700 agents, 600 agents. It was one of the biggest in the Midwest. And of course, Kathy took a chance on me. I was one of her managers for several years. And now today, she is the CEO of Glover U, coaches quite a few broker owner leaders. That's really her specialty for obvious reasons, and also leads our team building group coaching program. So Kathy, take it away.
All right, good. So happy to be here. So pumped. One of my favorite subjects is recruit solves all. It's one of my favorite things to do. Jeff said that we owned a big company in Southeast Michigan, 17 office center and 50 people. And I also had the benefit of working in the field and continue to work in the field with recruiting for 10 years. And what I learned is that recruiting solves all. And actually, I learned to love to recruit. Now, just like sales, Jeff, most people don't come on here and go, I love recruiting. I just love it. Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things that most people hold back. So I'm super excited just to dive right into. So I want you to write down,
and let me just say one more thing.
Yeah,
Kathy, I don't want people thinking, oh, well, she had some success years ago. No. You're still in the trenches with all of my leaders. You're working side by side with Taylor, with the leaders of our brokerages. You are absolutely in the trenches. So you know what's working, not 5 years ago, not 10 years ago, what's working right now, which is a big requirement. People ask all the time, well, how can I become a Glover U coach? Well, first of all, how long have you been a Glover U client? We look at that, number one. And then number two, we say, okay, are you in the trenches, and are you willing to stay in the trenches? Because that's one of the big requirements of our organization. So sorry, I just wanted to make sure I got that out, because I'd be wondering that why should I pay attention to what this gal has to say? She's in it.
Totally. And it's a lot more fun to be in the trenches than not in the trenches, right? I mean, I just wouldn't even consider it. So you got to be in the trenches to really be able to teach it, right? And to help. So let's dive in. The first thing I want to dive right into is some thoughts that Jeff and I have on recruiting. So let's write this down. Let's go to your workbook, write down these thoughts. There's not that many of them. And then we're going to dive right into the content. One thing that we know, recruit solves all. Why? So Jeff and I, we know, number one, that attrition happens. People come and go, guys and gals. People come and go in your office every single day, on your team, in your downline. It doesn't make a difference. We know that attrition happens. So you've got to make sure that you're consistently and habitually recruiting. So that's a thought that just came to me. And number two, I want you to write down just thoughts on recruiting. Retention is the number one recruiting tool. Retention is the number one recruiting tool. Why? Because we don't want to bring people in and then have them leave out the back door. So we have to understand that retention are so important. And without retention, it's hard to recruit. Yeah. So remember, retention is key. Go ahead, Jeff.
Your retention becomes, people say, well, I don't want to be known as a recruiter. I don't want to have to make cold calls. I want to get into this agent attraction thing. And don't get me wrong, we teach both. We teach the attraction piece, and we teach the pure recruiting piece. Well, retention is what makes you attractive.
Right.
Think about that for a second. Your team, your brokerage, your downline, the retention of the agents in that is what fuels your attraction. People see the comings and goings in the market. And when you're able to retain, your average, if you think about it, Kathy, even at Glover Agency, our average agent tenure today is 7 years on a real estate team.
Right.
Like, that's unheard of. On a real estate team, that's where the turnover happens the most.
Totally.
The retention becomes the attraction tool, because then the people in the market say, well, you must be doing something right, because these people aren't leaving.
Exactly. So the retention is super important. And again, we use the retention, and we'll share that a little bit later, in our recruiting efforts by videoing our agents that are there and loving what they're doing. So I love that point. It's one of my favorite points. Point number 3 on why does recruiting solve all? This is what we're talking about now. Then we're going to get into steps on how to be a great recruiter. So because number 3 is productive agents, right? their income, if you're out going after experienced agents, and we're going to talk about that quite a bit today, the income falls to the bottom line quicker. Think of the logic. Recruiting solves all. Well, if I go out and I'm consistently communicating, which was my specialty, was experienced and productive agents. That's what we specialize in. And that's what we're specializing in at Glover Agency big time today. And I love that because when you hire an experienced person, the money and it affects the bottom line, right? The income falls to the bottom line quicker. So keep that in mind as you're going through this. Number 4, write down. This is thoughts on recruiting. Why does recruit solve all? When the market changes, leaders, when the market changes, you have to understand that I watched so many people, Jeff, and you and I both know this as leaders, right? We got to the peak market during COVID, and then so many people took a back seat, not all the leaders, but a lot of them, and they stopped recruiting during the peak market. And then when the market went down, they started losing people because they couldn't keep up. So when the market changes, we can't take our foot off the pedal. We have to make sure that we don't get used to the income when it's a really strong market. And you have to be consistent no matter what the market is, period. So that is something that I think is critical. And we have to remember, don't take your foot off the pedal. When a market changes, if you're consistent, whether the market's going up or down, when you're consistent with recruiting, you're going to be better off. And it's something that I've seen way too many team leaders do. Don't do that. Number 5 thought on recruiting, the quality is in the quantity. Remember that you have to talk to a lot of agents to find the quality, right? And Jeff, you and I talk about that all the time. Taylor and I are on it all the time, is that you have to talk to a lot of people. So don't forget that the quality is in the quantity. You have to talk to a lot of agents to find the best ones.
Yeah. And, I know, Kathy, anyone who's been to our stuff, we talk about that a lot. We usually always follow that up with the ... And be careful because the quantity could push out the quality. And so what we're saying is don't go out and just recruit anybody. We're not saying that. We're saying get involved in a lot of conversations and maybe give people a chance that you might not otherwise give a chance, but don't hang on to them if they're not a fit. The quantity will push out the quality if you hang on to someone for too long that is not a fit for your company.
Yep, exactly. You can't haphazardly just bring people in. It doesn't work. And so you have to focus on the quality. And Jeff's right, is that if you have too much quantity, it pushes the quality out. Don't forget that. I love that point. You need to star it. Okay, that's number 5. Number 6, under recruit solves all. Why? Number 6, when you have a solid game plan for recruiting, it increases your per person production. It increases your per person production. So especially if you're bringing in experienced or productive agents, which is great. We want to increase our per person production. So remember that the more people, that quality you bring in, it increases your per person production as long as you have really solid, good training. Just keep that in mind, right? So if you have a solid game plan for experienced agents, you're going to increase your per person production, which is what we all want to do because life is better that way. Number 7, why does recruiting solve all? What we have to remember is that we have to find the problem that agents are having in the market and be the solution. Write down, I am the solution, and my team is the solution to the agent's problems in the market. And a perfect example of this, Jeff, is Glover Agency, right? When we looked at where the problem is that agents were having is they wanted their own brand. And at Glover Agency, we help them build their own brand. So we found the solution to the problem. So remember, we're the solution makers. When it comes to recruiting, we are the solution makers. So that's number 7.
One of the best things we ever did for recruiting and retention is make a list of all the reasons why agents have left us through the years, all the things that they've told us, all the things that they went out and done, whether they told us or not, things that we witnessed them do. Make a list of all those things and just slowly start chipping away at what are some of those things. And Kathy brought up, that was a big one. As a lot of people who are on here, whether you're own a brokerage and you have teams in your company, or if you're leading a team and you're on with us today, you know that that's a big reason why agents leave teams, because they feel like they're building the team owner's brand and not their brand. And so
Yep.
we didn't just create a policy to where they could have their own brand. We actually used it as a recruiting tool and said, not only can you have your own brand, but we're going to create one for you. We're going to help you. You know, it's not just, it's a difference between allowing it and actually encouraging it.
Absolutely. Okay, good. Love that. Number 8, why does recruiting solve all, right? These are our thoughts, Jeff and I's thoughts. Agents are learning they cannot do it on their own. Agents are learning they cannot do it on their own. They need a strong leader, a strong team, and a strong brokerage. And as this NAR settlement continues to go on, this is going to be even greater. There has never been a better time to recruit, ever. Because when there's change and instability, they're looking for a strong leader. They're looking for someone that can help them. So remember, agents are learning they cannot do it on their own. They need structure and a strong leader. That's something that we forget sometimes as leaders. They're looking for you. They need you. They need your passion. They need your care, and they need your leadership. Don't forget that. Number 9, thoughts on why recruit solves all. Productive agents are looking at what you can take off their plate, what people are looking for. Watch, if you're going to go after productive agents and experienced agents, now we like a balance of both, right? We like new agents, we like experienced agents, right? But the ones, they're looking for what you can take off their plate. That's what they want. So recruiting solves all, and these are just thoughts, right? Now we're going to dive into the specific content. But I want you to remember that there is never a time, everyone listening here, that you should stop recruiting or attracting. To me, they go hand in hand. It's the same thing. Never stop. It's like agents. Habits. What separates, what did Eric Thomas say? Separates the okays from the greats or something? He said consistent habits.
Habits, that's it.
That's all it is. So what I've seen sometimes in my coaching, and Jeff, you can agree with that, but also leading people, is that sometimes they pull off the pedal of recruiting or attracting. Well, I got busy, or I'm reaching my goals, and I'm like, no, don't do that, because you never know what's going to happen. So the habitual routine of it, the most mundane, like sometimes you're just like, you get tired of it. That's when you know you're winning, just for the sake of discussion. Okay?
That's right.
All right. So let's get into another sheet of paper. Let's go to a clean sheet of paper. Recruiting steps. How do I do it? Right? So how do I recruit? Now, obviously, in our team in brokerage building class, we're in a deep dive with recruiting solves all. We actually have 4 sessions on recruiting and how to master the skill and how to get people to be attracted to you as the leader. That is the key. So I'm going to give you some tips about how to do it right now. Please write down recruiting steps. Number 1, determine the number of agents you need. You need to look at what your goals are. And you have to determine the new and productive agents you need to reach your per person production goal, to reach your revenue goal, and to reach your profit goals. Right? So you need to set a goal for the number of new agents, gross number that you would like, and a net number, because we know attrition happens. And then you want to set a goal for the number of experienced agents or productive agents, gross and net. So you've got to determine the number. Now, that might sound fundamental to a lot of you people, but what I've learned is that you haven't really spent time looking at, what is my revenue goal? What's my profit goal? Where do I want my per person production to be? That's how you determine the goal. Okay, so number 1 is you've got to determine the goal. Okay. The other thing I'll say with that, with how to do it, is you want to make sure that you're just looking at the cost and income per agent, right, on your current team and your company. So that's something you want to take a look at, because that helps you determine it. What is the income?
I know you said I know you said it's basic, Kathy, but what I love about it is you're actually budgeting for turnover. When you talk about gross and net, you're budgeting, you're planning for some turnover, where a lot of people aren't really thinking about that. They're just thinking, I want to add 15 agents this year. I want to add blank amount of agents this year. Well, if you add 15 agents and you lose 12, you really only added 3. That's not going to do anything to move the needle. You got to budget for a certain level of turnover.
Yep. And we'll spend in the team and broker building class, we do a deep dive into helping you discover, if you're not already really good at that, exactly what your number is and why.
Sure.
So it's just super important. I think sometimes people don't take it as seriously as they should, which is why we're doing Recruit Solves All and why we continue to teach people.
Yeah.
But there's nothing more rewarding than attracting or bringing someone on, right? There's just
Mhm.
nothing more rewarding. And
That's right.
anyway, we can talk more about that later. Number 2, please write down recruiting steps to follow. So what we're doing is giving you a good sound outline that works at Glover Agency. We're having our best year for recruiting this year. I don't know if ever, Jeff, but as
Yeah.
far as I know, we are crushing it. And I know Taylor's doing a great job with getting people in the door, and we're all working hand in hand.
Yeah.
So you've got to make sure that you are in the trenches doing this. So number 2 is create an ideal agent list. An ideal agent list. So first, you're determining the numbers of people that you need to recruit. Second, you have to create the ideal list. I love this, and you know what I mean. So everybody out there, the ideal list is the qualities, the skills, the attitudes, and the attributes of people that you're looking for. Okay? The quality, the skills, the attributes of people that you're looking for, or in other words, guys, your core values. You have to create the ideal agent list. Okay. Do they match your core values? And Jeff, you always say, would you be proud to have these people represent you and in your brokerage or your team or your downline?
Yeah.
So, and what I love too, Jeff, is you and I talked about it. We're not going to hire anyone that does not meet at least 70% of these qualities.
Yes, yes, and we give you a little bit of leeway there. There's no perfect agent. Never, no, not everyone's going to be perfect. But if you come up with a list of 10 attributes that you want in an agent, and they check 7 of them, they're in. They can have, they can be terrible at 3 out of the 10, but they got to check 7 of them.
Absolutely. And here's the thing, I've seen way too many people, and you guys know this, leaders, that when you did not follow or look at your core values or the quality people that you recruit, don't work. So make sure, number 2, you've got to create that ideal agent list. Okay. Meaning the qualities of the people that you're looking for. They need to match your core values. Number 3, recruiting steps to follow. Put together a top of the funnel list, right? And I love this. We masters this at Glover Agency right now. So what this is, the top of the funnel list should be sorted by production and will be several hundred to several thousand in your area, right? This list is used for a mass marketing approach, right? Watch, we talked about you've got to go out to the quantity to get the quality, right? So we use this in a mass marketing approach to help you find the ones that fit your perfect agent list, the ideal agent. In other words, we have to cast a wide net, okay? You got to cast a wide net. Here's what's cool. Okay. So put together a top of the funnel list. That is, as Jeff says, hundreds to thousands of people, depending on how your multi-list is. Top of the funnel list. Top of the funnel list. Hundreds of people, 1,000, depending on the size of your MLS. We are doing this because someone just asked in the chat to this list to get a mass marketing approach. Okay. So what you need to do is you're going to email this list 2 times a month, minimum, once every other week, something of value. The receiver, something that the receiver would want. And then what they'll do is you have to have a QR code on it, click on it, open it, and now you have names and numbers of people that are interested in what you have to say. So this is the wide net, okay? The top of the funnel list. That's number 3, super important. Do you want to elaborate on that, Jeff, at all?
No, listen, again, it's just these are people that you want to start. You're going to start seeing their open rates and how much time they click around. And, this is the, as Kathy said, the top of funnel. This is to get people in your funnel. You're going to identify the people that are engaging with your stuff the most. And then from there, you can take their names and see if they check those boxes and then decide whether you're going to follow up with them or not.
Yeah. So I love this. We're very successful. And again, in the team and brokerage building class that we're teaching coming up here shortly, we go into the most successful emails that we are sending to potential recruits. and we're going to teach you what they are and why they work. So that's something that you can look forward to, everyone that's on here that joins us. Number 4, this is creating a target list, right? So number 1 was determine the number of people. Number 2 is create an ideal agent list, right? That's the core values, your qualities. Number 3, put together a top of funnel list, which is big. And number 4 is create a target list. Now, Jeff, there was no one better than you when we worked together, and the first time we were together, right? That put together a better list. So what you're doing is defining who you want to hire on your team or brokerage.
Yeah, my target list, I carried around on an index card. And, when I would get home, I would take out my cell phone, set that on the counter, take out my car key, set that on the counter, take out my hit list, set that on the counter. So guaranteed twice a day, I'm looking at the list of names of people that I want in my business. Think about it. In the morning, when I go to grab that stuff, to go to my car, to go to the office, I take the target list, put it in my pocket, take my key, put it in my other pocket. I'm looking at it at the beginning of every day and at the end of every day. There's no way you can forget about people that way, especially if you're carrying it around with you everywhere.
Absolutely. So guys, you become what you think about, right? So if you're looking at that list, so what Jeff and I and Taylor came up with is no more than 25 people. That's a targeted list of people in your market, right? Experienced agents that we're looking for in our market. You want to create that list. You need to sit, reflect, and write the names down or type the names down, whatever works. Yep, 3x5 cards, we still use them. So here's what I want you to think about this, okay? Everybody that's listening in, 25 names. So take some time to think about it. Ask your agents that work for you. You got to bring your agents in to help you recruit. They will help you if you ask them. So get that 25 down. Now, the other target that you want is you want to identify the target agents by the number of transactions that they do per year, right? So there's a sweet spot, right? For agents that move. We identify that sweet spot like 6 to 18 transactions. That's a good target. Now, if you want to do 4 to 10, that's fine too, but you have to identify the number of transactions that you're looking for. Here's what I want you to think. When you start recruiting, attracting people, agents that are like doing 6, 7 transactions or 10 or 12, what happens is they're the ones that are looking for someone to help them. They're the ones that they're stuck at 6, or most agents don't even have guidance from their leaders. So there is a sweet spot. And I always jokingly say to my clients, Jeff, and to Taylor, when we're talking, is open your eyes. They're all around you. They're all around you. And it's up to us to just understand that those agents are dying for strong leadership. So you want to write down the transactions. Again, it will be different depending on the market, but our sweet spot is like 6 to 18 transactions. That's who we're targeting. Thoughts on that?
We call it the low hanging fruit. 6 to 18 transactions will add immediate revenue to your bottom line. You don't have to teach them how to write a contract. And they're usually what I would consider the most vulnerable, because an agent who did 8 deals last year might have did 12 or 13 the year before. An agent who did 6 or 8 deals this year used to be doing 10, 12, 15 deals, and they're feeling it. If their business is in half, they're feeling it. And so that group is, I don't want to use the term the easiest to recruit, but what I would say is they need the most help and are the most likely to respond to your help. And that's why we target the 6 unit to 18 unit a year producers.
Absolutely. And again, I'm just going to reiterate, because of my experience and in today's market, because of the changes, they're looking and there are people making moves. And just for a tip for all of you, most people think about moving in the fall and the first of the year. Okay. The fall or the first of the year. So we're, wrapping up summer. Don't take your foot off the pedal. With a change with the NAR settlement, there's fear, there's discomfort. I'm not saying to take advantage of it. I'm saying that we're just people helping people. That is our job. And so we want to go out and help them. And they're starving for great leaders. So we spend a lot of time working with our leadership to make sure that they're passionate about what they do, they love what they do. And by the way, when you're recruiting, people feel that. They feel it if you're passionate about it. Okay. So create your target list, a list of 25 people, carry it around with you, and then create your other target list. Go after agents that are doing between 6 and 18 transactions. Okay. Super important. All right. Please write down number 5 steps I need to follow for recruiting. This is a big, meaty topic, Jeff, that, I have fallen in love more since I've been back with you and with Taylor and Glover Agency and Glover U. Number 5 is define clearly your mission, your vision, and your value proposition. Define clearly your mission, your vision, your value proposition. Now, some of you already have a mission, vision, value prop. And I'll jokingly say, because I work with a lot of people, right? I'm like, okay, do you know what it is?
Mhm.
Do your agents know what it is? When's the last time you actually had a discussion with your agents and with your leadership team about your mission, vision, and value prop? So we have to spend more times as leaders making sure that that mission, vision, and value prop is so clear that everyone feels it. So what I want you to write down underneath this, why would an agent come work for you? Why? Can you clearly define why they would come work for you besides your stellar personalities, right? So yes, that's a big piece of it, by the way. They do look for leaders that are strong and, are good natured and adaptable, but that's not just the reason why they're coming. So why would agents come to work for you? What are the real benefits that you offer an agent? And are those benefits going to help them improve their business? So you know as well as I do, Jeff, that we go deeply into this,
Yeah.
into our class, our
Yeah.
team and brokerage building class. So tell everyone why. I want to hear out of your mouth why.
Well,
Why
because,
we go? Yeah.
yeah, because you know, there's agents have a lot of options, and so they're used to everyone saying that they're the best and they're number one and the best brokerage, the best franchise. They're used to hearing that. And so what we do is a little bit different there. We make sure everyone knows our mission, which is living an unreal experience to deliver one. And we talk about with agents what that means. And then we go into a little bit further detail on, okay, one of our visions is that agents will get to spend more time with their family when they work with us. And what that does is that challenges us as an organization. After we write out, okay, we got our mission, and then we have our vision, which is what we see how the industry should be and how we behave as a company. But when I use the example of agents who join us, we want them to be able to spend more time doing what they enjoy doing and more time with their families. So then I have to follow that up with the third part, which is the value prop now needs to support that. So then what are 3 or 5 things we can do as a company to support that one vision? And so that's why it's important that we tie all 3 of those together.
Yeah. And again, going back to the team building and brokerage building class, I would be remiss not saying this. So please understand that we spend time with you so you clearly have a mission and vision that your agents are passionate about, you're passionate about, and then the value prop, right? And what your clear defined value proposition is. And I know we have some great people that are on, some of our clients that have done a masterful job of reworking their mission, their vision, and their value prop, and also having their agents understand it. But here's the deal, and I'll talk about this in a minute, is unless you can describe what makes you different in a logical, exciting, passionate way, you're going to have a hard time getting people to join you. Mm-hmm. And that, I think, is one of the biggest challenges that we have, is that we're just not really good at it. So you have to define your value proposition. You have to define the benefits of why they're working for you. Okay, so that's number 5, super important. Number 6, the steps to be a great recruiter or attractor, a great leader, someone that will get that recruiting solves all. And once that clicks in your brain, everything else in your business takes care of it. Now, remember, retention is the #1 form of recruiting. So you got to love the ones you're with, right? And bring them into the culture. But number 6 is master the recruiting presentation. Master the recruiting presentation. Now, we
So
joke.
like the list, like we had to master the listing appointment, master the actual presentation when I've got an agent sitting across from me. That's what you mean by that?
Exactly. So the recruiting presentation, I always jokingly say, when you leave a recruit, would they stand up and give you a standing ovation saying, yes, that was the best recruiting appointment I've ever had in my life, right? Or is it just kind of ho-hum? You and I both know, because we grew up in this business and we believe it now until today. And I know Taylor is working on her presentation and she's nailing it. And she presented it in front of us and she did a great job. People buy you, they buy with emotion. And you have to spend time making sure that that presentation is when they leave you, after you presented your value proposition, that they go, wow, that was something else. Now, here's the deal that I love is that we have recruiting scripts. Don't be afraid of the word scripts, okay? It's just asking questions and it's learning how to present so that they want to be with you. The other thing you have to remember, recruiting solves all and helps you when you're deeply passionate about helping people and your value proposition. That's why they join you, because they can feel your passion and they can feel, and then, so it's a feeling, but then you back it up by the specific value prop that helps them increase their production, make more money, and actually spend more time with their family. That's what they're looking for. So our recruiting presentation and our scripts are, we go again in our class, team and brokerage building, we go deep into the scripts because your presentation has to get better. And your passion has to be there. And when you take the combination of your language with this, your heart, and they can feel it, that's when they join you.
Yeah, a lot of our leadership scripts are out there if you just search for them. But yeah, what Kathy's referring to, the actual presentation itself. And if you want to get that dialed in, you want our specific presentation. At the end, we'll talk about how you can get your hands on that. But a lot of this stuff that we're talking about is in our free resources. So make sure you're taking advantage of those.
Absolutely. So specifically, that's interview number 2, right, is the presentation, but we have a sequence that we go through. Okay, so number 7, please write this down. This is a fundamental, okay? Recruit solves all. We have to make sure that we create the habits because that separates the people that are okay to be, it separates the greats from the not greats. So schedule your recruiting time. Okay, I know. Don't hang up. Don't leave. Watch. Recruiting time in the morning for an hour and a half, in the evening, an hour and a half. Now, you don't have to do that every day. Where I found, Jeff, and you can chime in here, I found when I picked up the phone, and when we pick up the phone and recruit, we get more people between 4 and 5:30, just like lead follow-up with sales.
Yeah.
Right? So you just have to schedule it. And I know it sounds so fundamental, but if you just do it for an hour and a half, 3 or 4 times a week, you're going to win. But I just found when I was recruiting a lot myself, and I've shared this with Taylor and all the people that I'm leading, and you guys know it, my clients are on here. They know, they're like going, yes, Kathy, I know 4 to 5:30 because I'm catching more people and they're actually recruiting people. So that's just a tip. Yeah. Any thoughts on that?
No, it's just, it's no different than how we talk about, the best times to call expireds are between, 8 and 9:30. The best time to call for sell by owners is between, 9 and 10:30. The best times to door knock for any sort of door knocking is between 3:30 and 5.
Right.
We've done this so much, we've found optimal times to where people will answer. And we also know the worst times to reach out and call people. And that's obviously, something to pay attention to.
Yep. So it's a fundamental, but it's super important. And so many people just say, well, I don't have time for that. And then they're mad because they didn't do it. Okay. Number 8. Number 8. I love this one so much. I love it so much. Adopt 5 new school and 5 old school systems to find experienced agents. So we have old school and we have new school. So it's really, there's 5 good ways to get, old school, which they make fun of me because I'm a little older than these youngsters, right? And then new school, which both work hand to hand together. I love this content. Now, obviously, we don't have time to go through all of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But let's just give an example of one of each.
Yeah, totally. I've got a couple of them, so I totally will. So obviously, I just gave you an example in point number 7 is picking up the phone, right? From 4 to 5:30. That is the oldest school thing that you can do. It still works.
Yep.
Understand it's very difficult to recruit someone without verbally communicating. Okay. And so that's an old school one. I'm going to give you one more real quick, and that's call co-op agents. Call agents on the other side of the transaction, right?
We have a warm call. It's a warm call. You have a reason to reach out.
And we do that. So what we do right now, Glover Agency, are both of these, right? In new school, what I love.
By the way, the script for that, if you're wondering, would be something effective. Hey, just wanted to put a face to name. You're working with Amy. She's one of our greatest agents. She's been around this, that, and the other. And I want to make sure you have my cell phone should things not go in your favor, right? Just dropping that hint, right?
Yep, love that. And that's something that we also work on too. Okay, so a new school, value prop videos. I love these so much. We do such a good job with that. Miss Taylor Kerrigan rocks it in in team building to brokerage building. We go a deep dive into value prop videos. So here's 2 ways to think of this. You have to get on video, Jeff, you can chime in on this, and you have to share a value prop and why people. Now there's a skill to this and a technique that we run through in the class. The other thing is you want to catch your agents in the act of utilizing your value prop with video. I love this stuff.
Yeah.
Comments
so just to kind of recap there. You have your value proposition and what you do to help agents make more money, what you do to help them brand, what you do to help them spend more time with their family, whatever your value proposition is. And now you go on video, whether it's selfie mode on your camera, or you go into a professional studio and you say, let me share with you value proposition number 13. And you record all of the videos of your value proposition. And now you start running them as campaigns on Instagram and Facebook. And as Kathy just mentioned, and I know this is something that you cover in your course, Kathy, take that one step further and find a few of your agents who are winning with that piece of the value proposition and give them some love and recognition and ask them to talk about that piece of the value proposition that they're using. Now they get to promote themselves to the market, and you get to indirectly promote your company through them. Fabulous idea.
I mean, it is one of the best ideas that we're doing. We're just doing a really good job of right now. And the other tip under new school is Facebook and Instagram lead advertisements, right? You take the videos that you said, use them for your lead advertisements. And actually Glover Agency, we generate 1 or 2 leads a day. Again, we're just giving you the idea. We go deeper into exactly our new school and old school tips when we take the class.
And just to give you a little bit of idea how we do that is every video has a download affiliated with us, right? So one might be, we help agents create strong schedules to help them list and sell more real estate. And then let's just say we have one of our agents talking about their day and talking about their schedule. Well, the download would be click here to get a copy of John's schedule. And now you're having people click and submit their information to get a copy of something from your value proposition.
Yeah, which is just fantastic. And it's just great. So I love the new school. I love the old school. They both work hand in hand. We're mastering that. And the last point I want to bring up to you real quick on this, number 9, onboarding system. You got to create the system that makes the transition for anybody into your company as smooth as possible. Okay. Onboarding system. Now this goes on forever, right? We don't have time to cover it on this, but you've got to my tip for you is with the onboarding system is MMFI. When you bring someone on, make me feel important. When they come in, they have to feel loved, respected, and you've got to make sure that your onboarding system is smooth. And we always say you've got to have like a welcome person, meaning someone that welcomes them, introduces them to all the staff, introduces them to all the leaders. It is super important. I've seen too many people not do that very well.
Yeah, they're very vulnerable this time, if they feel like anything is off, or I mean, I've seen agents leave companies, they got there and they got a listing the first week, and then they found out that there was no one at the company that inputs listings for them. And that was just one little thing that didn't come up. It wasn't part of the expectations. And it was just like, you know what? I'm going back, right?
Mhm.
They're very vulnerable during that time. So the best advice we can give you here, and I know during Kathy's program we share with you our onboarding system. The best advice I can give you is don't have a weekly goal or a weekly plan. Have a daily plan, meaning day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4. Something that happens every single day that they're with you from the time they join you up until about 90 days. Once you're 90 days in, they're fully onboarded and they're on their way. But I would have something every single day, not just like a goal for week 1, a goal for week 2. No, 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 no. You have a set of objectives day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4.
Yeah, so thanks for clarifying that. I love that. That's super important. So we do give that out at the team in broker building class. So if you want to master recruiting, if you want to have agents in your office help you recruit, if you want to grow your team, your brokerage, if you want to affect the lives of people to help them grow their income and their business, recruiting solves all. And you never have to worry about a financial challenge when you're consistently doing it. So all of these things, when it comes to recruiting solves all, we dive deep into the team and brokerage building, but that's not all we cover.
Yeah.
We get into our mission, how to create a strong mission, your vision, your value prop. But even with that, guys, it's how you take that information and tie it into recruiting.
Yeah.
And
You can have the
yeah,
best value proposition in the world, but if nobody knows about it, what good is it? And so
yeah,
what Kathy's referring to is you have an opportunity to spend 16 weeks with her, just like I got the chance to when I first started, to learn everything we're doing inside and out, from building our brokerages, building our teams, building our downlines, building our value propositions. We have essentially taken everything that we do and we've documented it in a spot to where you can take it no matter what company you're with, whether you're an independent, whether you're with a franchise, whether you're with a revenue sharing type company. You can take what we're doing and implement it at a very, very high level in just 16 weeks. And so you'll get 1 hour a week with Kathy live. All right. It's 45 minutes of content, and then it's 15 minutes of Q&A, which I love the Q&A, Kathy, because what I noticed about the team building attendees is they're always coming back the next week with homework questions, with things that they implemented, and you open the floor at the end of every single session for dialogue around that.
yeah, absolutely. And we also keep it to a limited number so we can have more direct dialogue. So it is a hands-on class.
Yeah. So what we're referring to, they just threw it up there on the screen. That's our team building course. This is for people that are leading teams, leading brokerages, or wish to be better leaders for their downlines. And so, or people aspiring to be, of course. If you want a copy of what we're looking at right now, you can actually just text the word CEO to 55444, and you'll get a breakdown of this document, and you'll see the 16-week program. Now, Kathy, it's $399 a month for 4 months. I
Yep.
mean, if they recruit one agent, they're going to make all of
Yeah.
that back from every. And if you take this and you don't recruit one agent, we got bigger problems
Yeah,
because
no doubt.
it is, of course, heavily focused on recruiting. But that's, as you mentioned, that's like 4 of the 16 sessions. I mean, we get into how to run productive sales meetings, how to coach effectively, how to get your agents excited about accountability and structure. And I'm sorry, Kathy, you probably had a list of things you wanted to say. So sorry for
No, you're
that.
good. Oh, I love it. Keep going. So it's
So, yep, go ahead.
nope. So yeah, how to run productive meetings. We give you actually the meetings content, right, of what works. It's also diving into our production, our team model, our brokerage model. Is it effective? Is it working? How can I increase my revenue? How can I increase my profit? How do I get the agents to participate and show up? So it's a deep dive in many different areas.
Yeah. And I know you cover a lot about business planning and profitability as well,
Yep.
which is an area that, like, listen, if you're a strong salesperson and you decide you want to lead a company, you probably have a natural talent of talking to people, and you probably have a good, strong personality, and maybe profitability and planning is not a strength of yours. Well, listen, this is one of the benefits why we hire coaches. We learn from people that have strengths in areas where we have weaknesses. And so for 16 weeks, I mean, it is literally everything from start to finish on how to build your team or brokerage to a more successful position. I mean, if we were to sum it up, that's what it is, everything from start to finish. And, you get to learn from between the two of us. I mean, I guess probably what, 50 years of experience in leadership between the two of us.
That's
No,
scary.
we trialed and errored everything. So you don't have to make the mistakes. We've already made those mistakes for you. So we can speed this process up for you. Hopefully it doesn't take you 50 years like it took us. Anyways, text the word CEO to 55444. We keep the group small and intimate, usually never more than 50 people at a time that we allow in there, because we want you to be able to engage and interact with each other. And I know that there's a lot of lifelong friends that have come out of that 16 weeks together, because it's not just you're on for 45 minutes to an hour and that's it. There's a private Facebook group for this group. You get role play partners. You start doing a lot of social media video play back and forth with each other. You're going to meet a lot of great leaders from around the US and Canada and other parts as well, that will become friends and people you can bounce things off of for life. So if you want to join Kathy for 16 weeks, I had the honor of learning from her as well. I would recommend you do the same. And we thank you all for joining us for another great webinar. We got, let's see, three or four more of these to go. All right. So Wednesday, we're back, same place, same time with another session. Friday, same place, same time. Next week, Monday, same place, same time. So go check out the rest at gloveru.com/webinar. Get your agents involved. They're free sessions to help them make more money for you and for them. And the rest of you, will be seeing you in a couple of weeks here. I believe it's the second week of August, Kathy, you start.
Yep.
Yep,
August 13th. And
All right.
it's recorded, just so you know.
Yeah, everyone gets the recordings. Let's see what else. It's on Tuesdays. What can you tell us the day and time?
Yeah, Tuesdays at noon, Eastern
Tuesdays
Standard
at
Time.
noon Eastern Standard Time. So there we go. Whether it's, whether you're on the West Coast or not, that's a very reasonable time for 16 weeks live with Kathy. All the things that we're doing to win, building teams, building brokerage, building downlines, all of that's covered. And we'll look forward to seeing you guys all soon. If not in Kathy's class, I'll see you in a couple days for our next webinar. See you guys.
Thanks, everybody.